Hi everyone, your local hipster here, and it's time for a retrospective review of the 2007 LCD Soundsystem album, Sound of Silver. Well, hello there. Who are you? Funny enough you should ask. I'm you, but improved. You're me, but improved? That's funny because I'm perfect. You can't improve me. Now is not the time to ask questions. You can't be doing this right now, and the importance is that you can either leave, or I'm gonna have to, I guess, snap. Like that. Okay, first of all, I'm busy right now. You can't really do that right now. Second, I don't know what that means. It seems like you don't want to comply. And that's kind of funny because I have more power than you. You hear me? I'm improved. I'm a you, but improved. So let's just get it done now. You have to explain to me that, or show me where am I going. Wait, what is happening right now? Boy, that guy sure was a nuisance. Let's talk LCD Soundsystem. The famed dance punk and Indietronica outfit from New York City, Brooklyn specifically. Formed in 2002, they released some of the more energetic, funky, and dance-driven punk there has been in the 2000s. Leading the charge with a 2002 single, Losing My Edge, that really catapulted Murphy into the indie fame that he would become. Fast forward to 2005, where the debut self-titled album was released, and it was a massive success, critically and fan-wise. But when the recording sessions were starting to begin for the next studio album under the LCD Soundsystem name, James Murphy thought his first album was too woody, too beige. So a little fun fact here, he actually draped the studio in silver tinfoil and fabric to really capture the sound of silver, hence the title of the album. And in 2007, when this dropped, it was another great success for Murphy and company. Because what this album did was kind of hone in the sounds that were bouncing back and forth off of the first album. Sounds that could have been honed in completely and was on this album. I would argue that Sound of Silver is the pinnacle of LCD Soundsystem. Not saying that they will never reach that height, but it's gonna be hard to do so. Even when you realize their comeback in 2017, American Dream, was riddled with a bunch of fans disappointed, uninterested, why? Asking why did the band come back not even a decade after they left? Because in 2010 they released their final album, This Is Happening, and then a send-off tour in early 2011. Titled The Long Goodbye, it was a 3-hour show, almost 4-hour show. It was a marathon of their entire discography, ranging from most of the songs on the first album, all of the songs on Sound of Silver, and all of the songs on This Is Happening, coming together in this 4-hour epic live album, more or less 3 hours. So at the time of their final album, they were indie icons at this point. What could be said about them? And speaking of The Long Goodbye, one of the songs on this album actually capped the entire show off, New York I Love You But You're Bringing Me Down. Now, enough talking about the live album and other albums and kind of leading up to the review of this album, let's actually talk about Sound of Silver, the album. 9 tracks, 56 minutes of pure, fun, energetic dance punk bliss, with a few moments of sad here and there. I would actually argue that the last song, New York I Love You But You Bring Me Down, is barely dance punk. It's more of like a piano ballad. And that's a great point to start off with. Ironically, the last track of the album. It actually starts with the songwriting of the album. The songwriting on this album is great. It showcases James Murphy as a great and talented songwriter, as he was an English kid back in college. Rather, he was an English student. I don't know why I said kid, but I digress. Other tracks that showcase this are Someone Great and All of My Friends. The former of the two is a track supposedly dedicated to his therapist, George Kamen, who unfortunately died during the recording of Sound of Silver. George Kamen was actually a pivotal part of James Murphy's story, as he forced him to put out the lead single to LCD Soundsystem, Losing My Edge. At that time, James Murphy was at the ripe old age of 30, which might not sound anything crazy, but in music, that's like 50. So putting out your debut single, being afraid of failure but having to learn from failure, is something that James Murphy knew he had to do, and luckily enough, Losing My Edge was his success. And Someone Great, you can read into the lyrics, it obviously can describe that scenario James Murphy woke up to learning that his former therapist died. Talking about coughing and your voice was different and the way you coughed sounded bad. Ending the song off with Someone Great is Gone, a message that can be echoed through millions of people because everyone understands loss. And the song All of My Friends is just a great song lyrically, and my favorite line on this album is on this song in particular. This, you spend the first 5 years trying to get with the plan and the next 5 years trying to be with your friends again. Oh, you're taking 45 turns as fast as you can. Yeah, I know it gets tired, but it's better when we pretend. Pretend. Now you might be asking, why am I going so hard into the lyrics on a dance punk Indietronica album? Well, come on. A song has to be catchy for you to listen to it again. Or you just have to be interested in that song again. So wouldn't James Murphy want to interest you in every single way possible? Great lyrics, fun, danceable grooves, amazing drum beats, and amazing passages of synths that sound simple. They sound so simple, but they're so intricate. Even at how repetitive a lot of these songs are, like the song Us vs. Them is an 8-minute monster that doesn't get boring. And maybe the closest thing to a boring track is Sound of Silver, which repeats 5 lines. But it was the songs that were very progressive. They moved, they flowed from one track to the next. Well, from one musical passage to the next in each song. The opening track, the 7-minute track Get Innocuous, starts very linearly. It builds and builds and builds. It's funky, it's groovy, and it is amazing how it starts off this album. Then you get the 2 tracks that are more dance tunes, whatnot. Time to Get Away, North American Scum. Other dance tunes include Watch the Tapes, as well as Us v Them. And Sound of Silver, which I kinda like more than other people, honestly. I find Sound of Silver, the title track to this album, very catchy for some reason. I can repeat the 5 lines over and over and over again, and I'm never bored listening to this song in particular. And another thing about this album, I'm never bored listening to this album. It's fun, it keeps your momentum up, it keeps your energy alive. Even at face value, really kind of looking at this from face on, you can see that this is a repetitive album, and I will admit that, even if I love this album to death. The track All My Friends repeats the same keys of a piano that are very simple. They started throughout this entire track. The drum passages rarely change, and when they do, it's not by much. The one thing that keeps this album alive, moving, and free-flowing are the lyrics, which is why I dived into them a lot more than maybe what other people would. It's a dance punk album. It's an Indietronica album, for fuck's sake. Why is it so important to look into the lyrics? I mean, I would ask the same thing, but I mean, it's very important on this album, which is probably one of the reasons why not a lot of people like American Dream as much. Nevertheless, a fine LCD Soundsystem album. It did feel by the books, though. Back to Sound of Silver. If you are looking for a playful, fun, groovy, and energetic dance punk Indietronica album that has a lot of character to it, you're going to love this album. Give it some time, give it 3 listens, and if it doesn't hit you at that point, or if you're not growing to love it, then it might not be your thing, but never give up, because this is a fun album that is a must listen. A must listen. And I hope you listen to it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, share, do whatever you want. Let me know how I can improve future videos down below. Let me know how this updated version of a review works. Is it better? Is it worse? Let me know. And remember, don't eat pants. It's not healthy for you.